Sony just announced A7C. C stands for compact. It's their smallest and lightest full-frame camera. It's basically A7 III squeezed into Sony's APS-C body camera like A6500. It has 24.2 megapixel backside illuminated CMOS full-frame sensor, 5-axis 5-step in-body optical image stabilization, real-time human and animal eye autofocus, 10 frames per second continuous shooting, 4K 30 frames per second, 100 megabits per second, 420 8-bit H.264 video, 1080p 120 frames per second, 100 megabits per second slow motion, HLG 123, S-Log 23, ISO starts from 100, goes to 51,200 and extends to 204,800. It has the same screen from A7 III. You can touch to focus, you can touch to track, you can touch to shutter, but you cannot use the touch features like we have on A7S III to navigate the menu. However, the screen flips out just like A7S III. The electronic viewfinder on A7C is the one from A6600. And the body of A7C looks very similar to Sony's Alpha series APC cameras like A6500, A6600. It's a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier. A7C weighs 507 grams, which is 143 grams lighter than A7 III. It takes the Z battery, which allows this camera to take 740 photos and 220 minutes of video, which is the best compared to the all other full-frame Alpha cameras. 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz Wi-Fi allows you to transfer your files faster, and it has Bluetooth 4.1. It has the autofocus speed controls like the one we have in A7S III, where you can change the speed and the sensitivity with more increments, which is a very helpful feature. And A7C costs $1,799, which is $200 cheaper than A7 III. In fact, if you get it as a kit, which it comes with a brand new lens, it only costs $200 more than A7 III's body. The brand new lens that comes in this kit is 28 to 60 mm f4 to 5.6. This also happens to be the smallest and lightest full-frame standard zoom lens. It only weighs 164.3 grams. So for $2,100, you can have a workhorse of a full-frame camera that is super small and light compared to anything else out there. I guess the question is, who is this camera for? Well, Sony A7C makes the orange ring of full frame more accessible to people. So if you're starting up and if you want to start up with something really nice, well, I envy you. I started with really, really cheap cameras. You may look into Sony A7C, or let's say you're using an APS-C camera and you want to upgrade, then you can do the upgrade and switch to Sony A7C. Or you may want a second full-frame camera, but you don't want to spend that much, then you can easily get a Sony A7C. To me, it looks like it is one of those cameras where you just grab and go outside and it just works for you. It just delivers the beautiful full frame look in your videos and photos. As my channel was growing up, I started with very cheap cameras, and then when I switched to 1-inch sensor Sony RX100, I thought that was just amazing. But then in time, that wasn't good enough. Then I switched to A6500, and then from that to full frame cameras. So if back in that day something like A7C existed, I would have been really happy, because then you can just spare your money and then just jump on that camera and you can invest in the lens, which I warn you, it's an addiction. It is. Buying lenses, addiction. You will be sitting on your couch just browsing through lenses, watching videos. Why you need the lens that you actually don't need. But that's a different story. And you can invest in the lenses, and then when the time comes, when your channel gets bigger or whatever you do, you make money from whatever you do, you can get a nicer full frame camera and use those lenses too. Now, the way I invested in A6500, it just ended there when I switched to the full frame because of the lenses and the battery and everything. But since A7C is the smaller brother of these monsters, it has some features lacking. Like it has one memory card slot, just like A7 III. While you're shooting 4K 24 frames per second, it is full frame, but when you switch to 4K 30, there's a little bit of crop. It has the same rolling shutter as A7 III. No active stabilization like the one we have on A7S III. And you may be asking yourself, should I be worrying about 420 and 8-bit? If you're not going to do a lot of editing in your video, don't worry about 420 8-bit. If you get a camera that can shoot 422 10-bit, you're also going to need better memory cards. You're going to need a better computer that can help you work on that edit. So if you're just starting up, 420 8-bit is fantastic. It's just good enough, unless you need the amazing editing, which I never needed. If you arrange your camera accordingly before you start recording, you're gonna be fine. We've been fine for a real long time. Also, A7C comes in different colors. It comes in 2 colors, which is nice, which is refreshing. Apart from that one memory card slot, it's also lacking a couple of custom buttons, but everything else is customizable. So I think you can find your ways around it. However, I feel like the kit should come with the grip commander handle. This one. This is very useful thing. I love using that thing. I'm controlling this A7S III right now. So in the end, I think A7C is a fantastic camera for beginners or people who like to upgrade and people who want a second camera. I will be reviewing it as soon as I get one in my hands. And until I do that, please go ahead and watch my friends' videos, which I'm gonna link in the description box below. But what I think doesn't matter. What matters is what you think. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about A7C? Is it something you like? Is it something you look forward to having one? Let me know. And until I see you the next time, take really good care of yourselves and hoşça kalın.